Hello, hello, welcome back to another video. Today we got some more decoy voice. Some good old decoy voice. Mexico is done, apparently. So something's happening in Mexico. I wonder what. Let's see what's going down south.
Mexico just saw massive protests against their liberal president, Scheinbaum, which got so intense their police even brought back the Greek phalanx. But oddly, the mainstream media skewed this story from the perspective of the accused narco president. It'll be interesting to see which outlets view this from the citizen side and which writers report this from.
Well, probably little to none. Because, you know, the news outlets are actually controlled by the government because they only push out propaganda. Why? Because the government in Mexico is corrupt. So we're probably not really going to see anything in favor of, you know, the citizens who are trying to protest, you know, a change in government. If anything, they'll probably be demonized even harder going forward because they're essentially opposing the government that's there in place because the select group of people want those specific puppets in play so that way they can get away with their little criminal organizations. So yeah, we're never gonna see anything in favor of the citizens. It's sad and it sucks, you know, but at the end of the day, you can't really do much when you don't really have freedom of press.
The perspective of the cartels, as all of this started when a Mexican mayor took on the cartels, only to be assassinated days later. The Trump administration.
The moment he said Mexican mayor stood up, I was like, well, I wonder how long it'll last before he's dead. Then the next thing he says, assassinated days later. I was like, oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, he didn't last. Let's see here. NBC News exclusive. Trump administration planning new mission against drug cartels in Mexico. U.S. officials say good. Good. I am in favor of that. I voted for that.
Administration began planning going into Mexico with the military, stating the cartels run their government.
Because the cartels have a tremendous grip on Mexico and the politicians and the people that get elected.
To which Mexican President Scheinbaum stated something to the effect of, "We must protect the cartels from fascism."
Entonces, estos llamados autoritarios, porque son autoritarios.
Authoritarians. Apparently, we're authoritarians if we don't want criminal organizations running a country to our southern border. Damn. I guess every country in the planet is authoritarian to some degree, huh? Because they obviously don't want drugs just being, or rather illegal drugs just being massively shipped into their country, destroying the lives of their people and ruining, you know, their economy. But I digress. What do you expect from a country that's literally run by criminals? They're gonna try to defend being criminals in any way, shape, or form that they can.
Es ir hacia el fascismo.
Now obviously we're not able
course.
to translate this one-to-one, because if their president really claimed protect the rights of the cartels, that would be insane, which is exactly how the Mexican citizens are responding, as their president quickly built massive barricades in anticipation of Saturday's protest, to which it originally appeared to be genuinely peaceful, as they chanted against their alleged narco president.
Let's see here. President, President, presidents, governors, to the youth. They're killing us. Our parents. They must see us realize. not reclusive or assassinated. It's essentially a protest stating that their government should be, looking at the people instead of looking after the cartels, and instead of hiding, or not hiding, but covering up the assassinations and all that stuff, and having the citizens live in fear of the cartels. They should be trying to deal with these cartels. Bro, they're literally flying fucking straw hat pirate flags, like in over there. I think it was in Indonesia. I forgot where it was, but I know that there was a country where they were flying the fucking One Piece flag, the Straw Hat Pirate flag, as like their revolutionary flag. Yo, that's insane. Yeah, it's fucking Luffy's flag. Oh, that's so funny. I love that. I love that. God damn, dude. To think that anime literally went from it's so fitting that it's One Piece, because One Piece is quite literally about a worldwide revolution against the government. At the end of the day, the world government in the world of One Piece. So it's fitting that they would be using symbols from One Piece to be the cornerstone symbols of their revolutionary movement. God, I love it. Down with the president.
And aside from all the One Piece pirate flags, it is somewhat refreshing to see citizens protest while waving their own country's flag. But when these Gen Z protesters made it to the walls outside the National Palace, they attempted to scale the makeshift barricades, later trying to tear down the gates, only to be met with a rainbow of OC sprays.
Bro, look how effective this is compared to what we do here in America to deal with this stuff, man. It's so sad. How is it that they're more effective at dealing with protests that turn violent and become riots than we are, man? It baffles me so much, bro. Like, why?
But this didn't deter them, as they kept at it, chanting, "Yes, we can."
Si se puede. No way.
As I...
Bro, they're saying the wrong one. Ever since the World Cup, it's Yase Pudo.
would say their protesters were more serious than American idiots in their inflatable suits, but even they had an activist in an astronaut costume.
No way! That's... Oh my god, dude. Oh man, of course they had someone in a costume. Honestly, I'll say that's better than the activists that we have here, at least. Better than the the goddamn discount grade Avengers that we get at like the ICE facilities and whatnot standing out there. Because those people are insane and they need to touch grass. So the spacemen, I'll take spacemen over the lunatics in Antifa any day.
Completely negate the seriousness of this, but it does show how performative these protests are becoming, as they did eventually break down their barricades.
Mostly peaceful media. That's so funny. Oh, that's such a funny media. That's such a funny little thing to have there. If that is an actual like website, that's even more hilarious. But it's like, why behave like this? Genuinely, like, I get that you want to get your point across, but is behaving like animals really the best way to go about getting your point across? In my opinion, I don't really think it is. Why not just keep it peaceful?
Using the other gates to face off with the police.
Oh, I see what he means. They're using these gates to fight the police. When he said using the other gates to fight the police, I thought he meant like they were trying to like divide and conquer, and they were, you know, like they broke the north gate and the south gate, and they're trying to like primarily attack from or be more aggressive in the north gate, so that way more resources are spent securing the north, so that way they could get in through the south more easily. I thought that's what he meant when he said they're attacking with the gate. No, he meant they're literally attacking the police with the gates. Okay. I'm an idiot. What the fuck? Bro, you know what that reminded? I don't know why that reminded me of the Battle of Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings. Is it the Battle of Helm's Deep? It should be, right? Yeah. The Battle of Helm's Deep. I don't know why. It just reminded me of like the orcs when they were like ramming into the wall. I don't know why. It just reminded me of that. It was so goofy. Yeah, get him! Get him,
successfully
Taco!
taking away other parts of the barricade.
Okay, what's their plan? What the fuck did they just throw? What was that? Okay, they've taken the barricade down. What next? What comes next? What's their plan after this? Because realistically, if they have no plan after this, then why even bother with the barricade in the first place? And why not, like I said, keep it peaceful throughout the entire thing? You know? Like, if they... that's the issue, is that these people typically don't tend to think things through. It's like, they're like, oh yeah, we'll take down the barricade. But then it's like, after they're done, they'll be like, all right, what's next? And no one will know what exactly comes next, because they didn't really think that far ahead. Yeah, like I said, they're cheering
This was just the beginning,
like they're cheering that, but like, okay, what follows?
as there were
I guess that's where we're about to see.
still hundreds of riot police now forming a sort of Greek phalanx behind their shields, to which the rioters tried to break through.
They're not gonna do that well.
Implementing some not so successful tactics.
Yeah, they're I don't even think they're doing anything to these cops. Okay, that might have actually done something, you know, might have like pushed them, gotten them a little off balance. That's probably about it. But like, they're not really doing much. They're more than anything, like, it looks like they're just being annoying. You know, the police are just there, like, like as long as they hold firm and whatnot, then, you know, nothing really bad should happen to them. They shouldn't really get hurt or anything, because looks like the crowd really isn't that capable of doing much damage, that is. You Yeah, like I said, what the fuck are they throwing back?
Until the police phalanx began to advance on their position.
Yeah, like the moment the police start to advance, they're bone no matter what. Because the moment the police actually start to advance, at the end of the day, the protesters now turned rioters don't actually have any equipment or gear to deal with the police in return. Like how I'll give Antifa this. At least they have gear, you know, wherever they're getting this gear from. At least they have it, so they can at least be annoying a little bit longer because of the gear. But over there, here in Mexico, they don't have it. So they're not really going to last that long once the police actually start advancing and then start making arrests, you know? They'll probably just disperse fairly quickly.
And when they finally clashed, it didn't go so well for the Gen Z rioters, with some of the riot police being snatched by the mob and beaten.
Oh shit. Oh, the police being snatched. Oh, I thought he meant it the other way around. Holy shit. I thought he meant like police members like snatching rioters and beating the rioters, not the other way around. Holy fuck, dude. God damn, they're more vicious down south. Jesus fuck. They dragged that police officer and beat his ass, and you had to censor that.
Is where the rioters fell behind police lines, also being beaten. But
oh, never mind. There it
the
is.
riot police were able to push back the mob outside the National Palace, completely clearing out the courtyard, restoring order. Now, when the Daily Mail covered the riot, they reported on the Gen Z protest.
Actually, I want to read all that. Let's see. What is that? Okay, let's see here. Daily Mail: Mexican anti-cartel protest descends into chaos as thousands of rioters storm President's Palace in Gen Z revolution. Capital siege. Knee. I don't know what that says. Okay. Yeah. What does that? Okay, they're at the bottom. New mobs of frustrated, mostly Gen Z Mexican protesters gather around the National Palace in Mexico City as they shouted about how corrupt and cartel crime have spiraled out of control. I mean, I don't blame them, not gonna lie. It has spiraled pretty out of control. You see it very drastically, actually. And and then the government ignores it because they're, you know, corrupt. So all their points are very valid. You know, they're not actually lying or defaming anyone. Everyone sort of knows it. It's just that they're sick of it, you know? You like you poke the bear enough, you're eventually going to annoy the bear and the bear is going to retaliate, you know?
For the riot, they reported on the Gen Z protesters calling for the president's resignation, as 20 of them were arrested for battery, assault, and robbery, with 60 officers also being injured, with 40 of them being sent to the hospital, as President Scheinbaum accused right-wing groups being behind this. And although she wasn't actually at the National Palace as this happened, she later denounced the Gen Z protest and violence that occurred. Now, I don't suddenly trust the mainstream media, especially to translate another language and to tell me what's actually happening, but judging from the massive amounts of people waving the Mexican flag against their far-left president, I'm somewhat inclined to believe this president isn't actually representing the people. Where recently, a conservative senator from Mexico actually came to our media to say the same.
Is Mexico a narco state?
Oh, it is this chick.
And we all Mexicans know about it, and Mexicans are afraid of.
Yo, I saw this shit on TV the other day. I saw this lady speaking about that shit. And that was on the Mexican news outlets, because that's what my grandfather watches you know, late at night. He watches like news and all that stuff in Spanish and whatnot, and like ESPN. So yeah, I was like, I heard about this and I was like, damn, she's actually speaking out against like Mexico and the corruption in the government with the cartels. Holy shit. The cojones on this one. But yeah.
Of the alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels that have infested our nation.
Can you explain this alliance between the president, her party, the Morena party, and the cartels?
The cartels have given so much money to these politicians, narco politicians of Morena, to get into office, to get the power. So they protect the Mexican government protects the cartels.
I mean, when how many of her political candidates were assassinated? I forget. Was it 30 or 60? But I mean, regardless, let's just say it was 30. When 30 of your political opponents are assassinated so that way you win, yeah, we kind of have to speculate that, you know, maybe there was some foul play. Maybe, just maybe, you know, I'll put on the tinfoil hat and be like, you know, conspiracy theorist fucking Benjamin in the corner over there mumbling to himself, and be like, yeah, I feel like there was some foul play when all of, or not all, but nearly all of your political opposition that actually was a threat to you gets eliminated via assassination. Yeah, the cartels definitely pull strings. You're a puppet. You a puppet, bitch.
That is why President Sheinbaum doesn't want the strong American leadership to help Mexico defeat the cartels. And also, Sheinbaum doesn't want the rest of the world to know what is happening here in Mexico. We are on the steps to be the next Venezuela.
Which really makes you wonder why places like left-wing Bloomberg see this story and write their article from the perspective of how can President Sheinbaum stop these protests, and not why does most of Mexico believe they have a narco president. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality,
Bro.
subscribe to Decoy Voice.
Yo, let's go. Mexico's waking up. I love it, man. I love it so much. But yeah, it's definitely very interesting. I will say. But I am glad that they are, you know, that they're protesting against the corruption in their country and in their government. I wish we sort of did that as well. Instead of, you know, fighting with each other, we fought against the actual problems, that is the corruption that exists in our country. But no, we stay unga bunga simple-minded, monkey brain tribalism and fight amongst ourselves. But yeah, either way, a nice little Mexico W, let's go. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, and all that YouTube jazz, and I'll catch you on the next one later.